What if the person you trust most in the world betrayed you in the most unexpected way? I wish I could say I never saw it coming, but the truth is, I was too wrapped up in my own life, my own obsession, to even notice the cracks forming in everything around me. I was just a woman looking for a place to belong, trying to rebuild my confidence and my body. But somewhere along the way, that innocent pursuit of strength and health turned into something much darker. It became my escape, an escape I didn't even realize I needed until it was too late. Today, I want to share with you the story of how I let my obsession with the gym and the attention it brought me lead me into a secret affair, one that, in the end, destroyed my family. Let me take you through the lies I told myself, the guilt that eats at me, and the choices I never thought I'd make but did. Because the hardest part isn't the affair itself, it's the betrayal. It's knowing that I broke someone who trusted me with everything, and knowing now that nothing will ever be the same again. It's a journey I never wanted to take, but here I am, telling you this story, because I need to understand what happened. I need to know how it all went wrong. Before we dive deeper into this story today titled Gym Sessions and Secret Kisses, the affair that shattered my world, I'd like to invite you to subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying this journey and give this video a thumbs up. Your support energizes us for sharing these intimate stories, and remember to turn on notifications so you won't miss any future episodes. Imagine feeling that sudden chill when you realize something is wrong, but you can't quite place it. It's like the world around you is moving, but you're stuck, locked in place, uncertain. That was my life for so long, until everything fell apart in a way I never expected, in a way that shattered everything I thought I knew. I thought I was just doing something good for myself, getting back to the gym after years of being out of shape. It seemed innocent enough. The gym was my sanctuary, my escape from the chaos of life, a place where I could find peace, release stress, and rebuild. I never imagined it would become the place where I would lose everything. I thought I was in control. I told myself I was simply taking care of me. But the truth is, the gym wasn't just my escape. It became my obsession. I began to spend more time there, more time away from my family, and before I knew it, I found myself slipping deeper into something I couldn't control, something that would change everything. We've all had moments where we questioned our choices, right? Where we felt disconnected from the ones we love, wondering how we ended up so far from the life we thought we were building. Maybe it's in the small things, those quiet, unnoticed moments where the cracks start to form, and you don't even realize how deep they go until it's too late. For me, it wasn't just a question, it was a life-altering realization. I had crossed a line that I could never come back from, and I couldn't see it until the damage was done. But that moment, that gut-wrenching realization, it felt like I was losing myself, losing my family, losing the trust of the one person who had always been there for me. And when I finally saw what I'd done, it was truth that hit harder than anything. I had broken something I could never fix. I know I'm not the only one who's ever felt this way. We've all made mistakes. We've all acted out of impulse, out of need for validation or affection. But the hardest part? The hardest part is facing it. It's looking at the mess you've made and wondering if it's too late to fix it, if you even want to fix it anymore. As I tell you this story, I need you to understand something. I'm not looking for sympathy. I'm not asking you to forgive me. I just want you to understand why I did what I did and how it felt to realize that in trying to find something I thought I was missing, I lost everything I once held dear. So much of it was out of my control, but I couldn't walk away from it once I was already in it, and by the time I tried, it was already too late. But the truth is, it was never really about the gym or the man at the gym. It was about what I was running from, what I didn't want to face, and how, in trying to find myself, I lost the most important parts of my life. So, let me take you through it. Uh, Let me show you how the choices I made, the lies I told, led to this moment, to this broken version of me. Click subscribe and remember to turn on notifications so you won't miss any future episodes. My gym routine started out so innocent. It was just about getting fit, about taking control of my life again. But somewhere along the way, it became more than just a healthy habit. It became an obsession. I found myself there every day, twice a day. I told myself it was for my health, for my sanity, for my own peace of mind. But deep down, I know I was running from something, and I couldn't stop. Whenever stress hit, whether it was work, life, or just the weight of everything piling up, I ran to the gym. When conflict arose between Rob and me, I ran there. It was like the gym became the only place I could breathe, the only place where I felt in control, the only place that could quiet the noise in my head. But the more I ran there, the more I started to wonder, was it really just about the workout? Or was I running from something deeper? I never stopped to think about it, because every time I stepped into that gym, I felt like I was free, like I was escaping. I never questioned why I was escaping or what I was running from, until everything came crashing down. It happened on a day I thought was like any other. I left my phone on the kitchen counter, a habit I rarely ever did. Normally it was glued to my hand, but that day I left it there and walked away to get ready for my next workout. He didn't mean to look. Rob had always respected my privacy, but that day something felt different. Maybe it was the silence between us, the tension building over weeks of unspoken words. Maybe he just needed to know what had been going on in my life when I wasn't around. But when he picked up my phone, when his eyes scanned the screen, everything changed. The texts were there. The words. The intimacy. At first, he couldn't believe what he was seeing. At first, he thought it was just an innocent conversation. But then he read more and more. And the truth hit him harder than anything he could have imagined. I had been talking to him, that guy from the gym, the guy I had told him so much about, and the things I'd said, the things I'd shared, the way we had been flirting. It wasn't innocent anymore. It was a secret I had been keeping from him, a secret I didn't even realize was spiraling out of control. Rob stood there, frozen in the kitchen, the weight of the realization pressing down on him. He wanted to believe it was nothing, that I wasn't crossing any lines, but he knew better. It was all right there in black and white, and in that moment, Rob had to ask himself, was this the woman he knew, or was this someone else entirely? The silence between us grew louder. He didn't say anything at first. I didn't even know he had seen the text until I came back into the room. But when I walked into that kitchen, I knew something was wrong. I could feel it. The air felt thick, and Rob's eyes, they weren't the same anymore. The trust between us, the one I had taken for granted, was already slipping away. I couldn't say anything at that moment. What was there to say? How could I explain? How could I defend myself when I knew what I had done? When I knew the betrayal was already in motion? But in that instant, I understood. The gym had never been my escape. It had been the beginning of something much darker. And as Rob's eyes locked onto mine, I knew. We could never go back. We could never undo what had already been done. That was the moment everything changed. That was the moment I lost him, and I had no idea how to fix it. Click subscribe and remember to turn on notifications so you won't miss any future episodes. Experts say that infidelity often stems from unmet emotional needs. It's not always about physical attraction or the thrill of secrecy. Sometimes it's about the feeling of being wanted, seen, and valued, things that over time can fade in a relationship. But in my case, the gym wasn't just a place to work out or release stress. It became a refuge. It became a place where I could feel admired, desired, and most importantly, appreciated in ways I wasn't feeling at home. As Rob and I grew more distant, emotionally and physically, I didn't know where to turn. Our conversations had become sparse, our intimacy non-existent, and the connection I had once felt so strongly was slowly slipping away. I had always loved him, but I couldn't deny that I felt alone in our marriage, and it was there, in that gym, where I found someone who could see me, truly see me. He gave me the attention I craved, and in his eyes I felt important again. Research suggests that when people experience emotional neglect or distance in their relationships, they seek validation elsewhere. It's a way of filling a gap, a void they don't even realize exists until it's too late. In my case, that void had been growing for a long time. I had been so caught up in my own world, running from one gym session to the next, telling myself it was just about fitness. But it wasn't about fitness, it was about avoiding the pain I didn't want to face. And as the emotional distance between Rob and me widened, I subconsciously started looking for something else, someone else, to make me feel like I mattered. This is a painful reality for many people in relationships. The emotional void can feel like a black hole, and sometimes, without even realizing it, we reach out to others to fill that emptiness. It's not always about wanting to hurt the other person. It's about filling a need that isn't being met. The betrayal wasn't just physical, it was emotional. And that's what makes it so devastating. It's not just about a kiss or a text message. It's about what was missing in my heart and what I thought I could find somewhere else. But I never stopped to ask myself, was I really trying to fix something in my marriage, or was I just trying to fix the way I felt about myself? Looking back, I know I wasn't just trying to fill a void in my marriage. I was trying to fill a void in myself. And I thought that guy, those texts, that attention would make me feel whole again. But in the end, all I did was destroy everything I had. I betrayed not only Rob, but I betrayed myself. I wish I had known then that the validation I was seeking wouldn't come from anyone but me. I wish I had realized that love, trust, and emotional connection could never be replaced by fleeting moments of attention from someone who didn't really know me. But in that moment, I couldn't see it. And the consequences, they were more than I could ever have imagined. Click subscribe and remember to turn on notifications so you won't miss any future episodes. I never thought I'd be the kind of person to do something like this, to cross a line I swore I never would. The guilt, the shame, it's unbearable sometimes. I would lie awake at night, the weight of it pressing down on my chest, making it hard to breathe. Every time I looked at Rob, I felt this pang of regret, this ache I couldn't shake. And every time he looked back at me, I could see it in his eyes. He wasn't the same anymore, because I had broken something in him. The hardest part was knowing it wasn't just one bad decision. It was a series of choices, small ones that seemed harmless at the time, but built into something that spiraled out of control. I didn't know how to fix what was broken in me, so I ran. I ran to the gym. I ran from the reality I was too scared to face. And in doing so, I hurt the one person who had always stood by me. After the discovery, everything felt like it was crumbling. Rob couldn't look at me without pain in his eyes, and I couldn't look at myself in the mirror without feeling disgusted. We barely spoke, and when we did, it was tense, clipped, full of unspoken words that neither of us could bring ourselves to say. I thought it was over. I thought I had destroyed everything for good. But then, something unexpected happened. Rob didn't walk away. He stayed. Not because he wasn't angry, not because he wasn't hurt, but because, deep down, we both knew there was still something worth fighting for. It wasn't easy. The first few weeks were unbearable. Every conversation felt like walking on glass. Every moment was filled with tension. But instead of letting the silence tear us apart, we decided to face it head on. I agreed to go to therapy, not just for us, but for me. I needed to understand why I had done what I did, what I had been searching for, and how to fix the parts of me that felt so broken. Rob started his own journey of self-healing. He went to therapy too, working through the anger, the betrayal, and the hurt. It wasn't about fixing the marriage right away. It was about healing ourselves first. Trust wasn't something that could be rebuilt overnight. It took time. It took patience. It took both of us being willing to sit in the discomfort, to face the hard truths about ourselves and our relationship. But little by little, we began to see glimmers of hope. Small moments where the walls between us started to come down. Moments where the love we once had started to shine through the cracks. The first step for me was learning to forgive myself. That was the hardest part. For so long, I held onto the guilt like it was a punishment I deserved. But I realized that if I wanted to heal, if I wanted to be better, I had to let go of the shame. I had to acknowledge what I had done, take responsibility for it, and then, slowly, start to move forward. The second step was rebuilding my connection with Rob, not for the sake of the marriage, but for my own growth, for my own peace. I started being honest with him in a way I hadn't been before. I told him about my fears, my insecurities, the things I had been running from. And in doing so, I gave him the space to share his own pain, his own doubts, his own struggles. It wasn't a perfect process. There were setbacks. There were days when it felt like we were making progress, only to take 10 steps back. But we kept showing up for each other. We kept trying. And slowly, we started to find our way back to something that felt real, something that felt honest. I won't lie and say everything is perfect now. We still have our challenges, our moments of doubt. But what I can say is that we're stronger now than we've ever been. Not because of what happened, but because of how we chose to face it. Healing isn't a straight line. It's messy, it's painful, but it's worth it. I've learned that forgiveness, whether it's forgiving yourself or someone else, isn't about forgetting what happened. It's about choosing to move forward, to let go of the pain, and to create something new from the ashes of what was lost. And that's what Rob and I are doing every single day. Click subscribe and remember to turn on notifications so you won't miss any future episodes. Infidelity is one of the most painful experiences anyone can go through, and it's something I'll carry with me for the rest of my life. It leaves scars on both people involved. But as devastating as it is, I've learned that it's not the end. It's a painful wake-up call, a moment that forces you to confront the things you've been avoiding. It reminds us of the importance of staying connected to those we love, of not letting the small cracks grow into something irreparable. If you're feeling lost, if your relationship feels like it's drifting, don't wait for a crisis to bring it to your attention. Talk to your partner. Be honest with yourself about what you need, what you're feeling, and what's missing. Sometimes the hardest conversations are the ones that save you. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever faced betrayal or a crisis in your relationship? How did you handle it? Share your thoughts or your story in the comments below. Let's start a conversation, because healing begins when we talk about the things we're scared to face. If you're struggling with trust or trying to rebuild after betrayal, you're not alone. Check out our next video, Healing After Heartbreak: 5 Ways to Rebuild Trust in Your Relationship. We'll walk you through practical steps to help you find your way forward. Don't forget to subscribe and join this growing community of people who are navigating life's toughest moments together. I'm not here to tell you it's easy or that everything gets fixed overnight, but what I can tell you is that healing is possible. Growth is possible. Love, real honest love, is possible. And it starts with facing the truth, no matter how painful it might be. Thank you for listening to my story. Click subscribe and remember to turn on notifications so you won't miss any future episodes. As I reflect on Sandra's journey, it's clear that healing is never a straight path. It's messy, it's painful, and there are days when it feels impossible. But what stands out to me is that it's a path worth taking. No matter how deep the wound, it's never too late to start healing. Sandra made a choice to confront her mistakes, to understand what led her to hurt those she loved, and that's something we can all learn from. So if you're watching this and you're feeling stuck, broken, or unsure of what to do next, know that you are not alone. Healing takes time, it takes vulnerability, and most importantly, it takes self-compassion. It's about taking the first step, no matter how small, and giving yourself the grace to move forward. Thank you for joining me today and listening to Sandra's story. If her journey resonated with you, please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe. Let's continue this conversation, because healing isn't a solitary process. We can heal together. Join me next time as we dive into more real stories, real struggles, and real healing. Each of us has a unique journey, and I hope to share more stories that help you find the courage to face your own. Until then, take care of yourselves and those you love. Remember, it's never too late to start healing.